I've never been more angry at a group of Danmachi characters as I currently am with these scumbags. These horrible, despicable characters deserve all of the death. This is irredeemable. I mean, they were pretty bad to begin with. The whole slave trade was one thing, but the violation that they attempted to do on Spider-Girl here, that was a line that was like, okay. Where's the Minotaur when I need him? This was an episode that made me feel a lot of things. It made me feel pretty disgusted, to be completely honest, and I'm not saying that as I wish I never watched the episode. The level of disgust and the emotions that this episode of Danmachi was able to make me feel is something that really does go to show how serious this story is and what this season truly represents. This is a mission unlike anything else. The fact that Belle's party's not even allowed to accompany him, only Belle himself, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see, is Belle really going to be the change that someone like the god Oranos actually wants to see, or is he just someone who got by this unlucky coincidence that he bumps in and does things in a way that he thought was going to be special, but actually was nothing extraordinary? This is a make it or break it point for the series. I mean, the entire world is already questioning the guild's authority, because you start the announcement saying, this is happening, we're going to send everyone, but then you get the actual word from the god saying, do not let anyone go down there. It puts into question the riots and what could happen, because not only are you getting the sabotage from the intelligent monster side, with only a few sticking by the idea of peace and prosperity, you now also have humans. This could become all-out war. This could become something so devastating that everything that we've seen up until the point of Danmachi will crumble and crash and burn. And for certain gods and heroes, or so-called heroes, that's exactly what they love to see, chaos, because it's entertaining. But for everyone else, it's complete and utter hell. This episode really went in directions that I thought the season would eventually go to, but not so quickly. Something like this transpiring, I think, is completely likely episode 7 or 8, but the fact that it happened at episode 5 really does say to me that we have yet to see anything that this season is going to do. And I can understand why so many source material readers claim this to be one of the best arcs, if not the best arc for them, because the narrative and what it's trying to lay out here and what the characters have to deal with is second to none with anything we've seen thus far. This was an episode with a little bit of action. You can argue the intro 5 minutes, give or take, is pretty much all action, but I would honestly personally say that this episode had very little action and was mostly character development and character drama, and it's some of the most exhilarating content the season has seen to date. We were seeing characters fight for their life, we were seeing characters put their lives down for others, and to see how casually they laughed as they killed these people is different when you're watching general monsters get killed, because it feels just animalistic and it's a fight for survival. When you see them talk and interact, they're really no different than fighting humans, so it felt like murderers, sociopaths, psychopaths, all just enjoying it. And when you get the moment where you leave the arachnid alive so you can do things to her, that was so disgusting. And this is a theme that easily could be written in something very similar to like early SAO days that isn't good and I feel like is very disgusting. Where with here, the way they handled it, it didn't feel like it was pointless or that it was written by someone who didn't know what they were doing. This was a scene that you gave this character an honorable death because she refused to let her life and her body be violated, and she crushed her crystal so she could die with honor. It was such a powerful scene and really flex what this season is capable of. To be able to take such touchy subject matter and turn it into something so bold and not like it should be removed or erased, it really does say how good Danmachi currently is. You did things that so riled me up. You hurt my girl Wine, you chained her up, you beat her, you bruised her. What is wrong with you? That's what you love to see. You love to hate to see it, because when you have villains this bad, it really does make you wish for them to be defeated, and it makes the objective of this mission all the more important. If these characters didn't get this level of emotion out of us, it wouldn't be as urgent. It wouldn't feel like, oh, this is really important to defeat them, because now we have two sides we have to deal with. Belle's party not only does have to try to calm down these monsters, and Belle's going to have to take a life. At the end of the day, though, you have to deal with that, and if you can calm them, then you have to deal with the people behind all of this insanity. And it's hard to say what's going to happen, but it's interesting to see Belle's resolve, because something I did question last week was how hard is he going to have to deal with not being able to fight monsters? And in this episode, he actually does take to the dungeons himself to see does he have it in him to kill a monster, and he does do so. But he and the viewer recognizes that it's not the same. It's not like he can just charge in and be a great warrior. Now, when he fights, he has these doubts that what if it can talk? What if it can feel such as myself? And the conversation with him and I thought was really nice, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, this was the first time we've seen her this season. I don't believe we've seen her up until this point. I could be mistaken. But it's nice to have her, because that's someone he deeply respects as a warrior, as a soldier, and just as a person in general. So to have him ask a question like this hypothetical, what if monsters could feel and think? What would you do? And her response, I think, is the most realistic, and I think kind of further reinforces and, Miss Supporter in terms of like, if they could make my friends cry, if they can make my friends hurt, I would not even think twice to put them down. It's such a hard thing, and I'm going to stick by what I think has to happen. Get them above ground, get them to a point where no human would ever dare set foot. I don't know if there is that point in their world, because I don't see them mixing and matching with humans anytime soon, especially when both sides are so on edge. The monsters themselves, most abandoned their leader as soon as they saw what happened. Imagine what humans are going to do. Maybe a few humans and a few monsters would try to make it work, but a majority would just create more war and chaos. Incredible episode. Emotionally draining. It made me feel so much, but I wouldn't change it, and I wouldn't have these characters be any other way, as much as they may infuriate me. That infuriation is something that leads to great storytelling, and honestly, the presentation, the voice acting, there was pain in the voice acting, and just the music, everything about this episode, and the conspiracy and the mystery really brought it out to be one of the strongest season 3 episodes for sure, and I know we're just getting started. This is a show that I think really did turn into something quite remarkable. I've mentioned it briefly in other reviews for Danmachi season 3, but when I initially watched season 1, I watched it weekly, and I found it fun, but I wasn't overly invested. And then when I heard season 3 was coming out, I binged season 1 and 2, never saw season 2 before, and it became something I really loved. And I have been asked before, like, what changed my opinion from season 1 to what it is now. And the main difference was that Belle in season 1, because you have that weekly experience and a lot of Belle's development comes in season 2, it just looks like a character who's gifted by an amazing ability and every female around him locks onto him. But when you binge season 1 and 2, you get to see who he is as a person a lot better, and it doesn't feel like he's just some harem isekai style protagonist. Rather, he's someone who even you yourself want to follow. And seeing him now in season 3 with that context, it really does make me respect his character a hell of a lot and turn him into someone who actually feels distinct and unique in a show that you would think would have the most stereotypical protagonist, but actually became someone truly remarkable and extraordinary in my honest opinion. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. Where do you think it might go next week? If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like to show your support and hit that subscribe button if you happen to be around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.